Lately, I've been learning to deal with external situations better. So, for example, even if I'm not in the mood, I can still be a nice person and I can still be generous or calm in front of other people. But there's some times when internally I feel like a complete mess. Like, you know those times when you just go on social media and you scroll for hours, or you just keep watching Netflix, or you just go down this rabbit hole on the internet and you can't get out of it. Yeah, I think that happens to a lot of us, and it's completely normal. And the way I've dealt with those situations in the past is I would usually tell my family or tell my friends. I would be like, oh god, I hate this, my life sucks. That worked for a while, but then I realized that it was kind of getting destructive and that I had to basically get my together and deal with the problems on my own. So a few months ago, I was faced with this problem because I was doing so much stuff. There was school, I was part of the student council, and on top of that, I wasn't getting enough sleep. I was dancing too, and there were just all of these things, and I felt like my life was just a mess and I did not know what to do. So how I dealt with this was I got a pen and I got a paper, and I basically separated myself from myself. So I pretended that Lois was my friend and I was giving her advice, because a lot of times we try solving our own problems, but then we get caught up in all of these emotions and desires, and it just becomes hard for us. But I noticed that when I was giving advice to a friend, I became way more rational and objective, and I was able to solve their problems so much faster than I was able to solve mine. In essence, I made two versions of me. There was rational Lois and irrational Lois. So rational Lois made 5 guide questions for irrational Lois to answer and basically process her problems so that she would be able to come up with solutions for them. And I think that this really helped, and I was able to get out of that funk. Is that the right word? I don't know. I hear people say that. And a really useful thing to do when you're dealing with these kinds of situations, or when you're trying to make some questions for yourself, is just use the typical who, what, where, when, why, how. And I found this really useful because I was able to attack all the aspects of the problem and I didn't leave anything out. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to tell you about my problem, which was that I just felt like my life was a mess and I wasn't able to get enough sleep, and I basically didn't have enough time for myself. But this can translate into whatever problem you have, whether it be with your health or with your relationships or with your lifestyle. And I think that this thing can apply to anyone and just modify it to fit your situation. The questions were, first, since when have I been like this? So first we have to get down to the root cause of the problem. And I think the best way to determine that is by asking yourself when it all started, so that you can get like a glimpse of the events that could have made that thing possible. So the second question is why? Why am I doing this? And the approach I used here is getting to the root cause, because beneath all of it, you're doing this thing for a reason. And what we need to eliminate the problem is to eliminate the reason for the problem. So for example, why am I watching too many YouTube videos? I'm watching too many YouTube videos because I'm procrastinating. But why am I procrastinating? because I find my requirements hard. So if that is the root cause of the problem, what can you do to make your requirements less hard instead of distracting yourself from the requirements and going down that downward spiral? The solution could possibly be asking someone for help or watching tutorials instead of other random videos, or just practicing. What I did here was I recognized the why so that I could solve that instead of trying to distract myself from the real problem at hand. So number 3 is, who is influencing me to be like this or to not be like this? So there's this saying that goes something like, you are a combination of the top 5 people you spend your time with. And this is why you have to be conscious of your friends. You have to make sure that these are good people who will influence you in a good way and will try to make you a better person. And doing this will help you recognize who those people are in your life that you need less of, or you need to completely cut out, so that you can develop into a better person and, get out of that toxic space. So number 4 is, what do I want for myself and why? A lot of times we want to get rid of a problem, but then we don't know what we actually want. So for example, I want to stop watching too much Netflix, but what do I want? So we have to get there before we get into the how we're going to do it, because you won't know how you're going to do something if you don't know what that something is. So I was editing and I noticed that I made a lot of references to Netflix and YouTube as like problems. But then, disclaimer, Netflix and YouTube are not inherently bad. Like, you can binge watch a Netflix series or you could watch YouTube the whole day. Like, honestly, I do that. And there's nothing wrong with it. And it only becomes a problem when it stops you from doing the things that you actually want to do. So yeah, I just had to get that out of the way. You do you, girl. So in this case, I wanted to find out my priorities so that I could be happy with the way I spent my time. And I wanted to make time for more play in my schedule, more rest, and more time for myself. And I feel like I needed to identify that before I tried getting rid of the problem, because who knows, the problem might not be a problem after all. But then in this case, it was, and I'm glad I got that out of the way. And after that, I was able to determine the last question, which is, how will I achieve my goals? And this is better if done step by step. First of all, I determined the root cause of my problem, which was I had too much to do and I was overwhelmed. So this went all into a downward spiral. And number 2, I just needed to cut out the root causes of that problem. Because of that, I was able to get out of whatever I was facing. I was able to make more time for myself, and I was able to think more clearly. These are actionable steps, and you have to make sure that they're realistic and they work for you. And if you're not able to do these, just be okay with it, and just learn that there could be other possible solutions to your problem. Just treat it like a game, and if you're not able to solve your problem right away, that's completely fine. And the last thing I did after all of this interrogation with myself, I just gave myself like a bit of support. So I wrote here, good luck, and I know you can do this, Lois. And I know it sounds cheesy, but it actually works. And one of the main things here is just, be kind to yourself, and you don't have to hate yourself for being impulsive or for giving in to bad habits, because it happens to all of us. We're not perfect. If you can take away one thing from this video, it's that you have like the power to deal with your own problems, and Like, don't underestimate your own ability to solve those things. And yeah, I hope you were able to learn something from here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!